Okay, so let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why a website is just blazing fast the second time you visit, but it took forever to load the first time? Well, that's not magic. It's this really cool trick called caching. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this invisible engine of digital speed. I mean, we've all been there, right? You click a link to a new site, and you're just sitting there, watching that little spinner go round and round. But you go back an hour later, and bam, it's instantaneous. So, what's going on? What's the secret sauce? Well, it turns out it's an incredibly clever, but actually super simple idea. To really get it, let's step out of the tech world for a minute and picture a busy chef in a high-pressure kitchen. Orders are flying in, things are sizzling, and every single second counts. Now, to keep things moving, that chef has a secret weapon, a special little shelf right next to the stove. That shelf is the cache. See, it's not the main storage for all the food in the restaurant, not at all. It's the small, dedicated spot where the chef keeps tiny amounts of their most used ingredients. It's a temporary, super convenient duplicate, and it's designed for one thing and one thing only: pure, unadulterated speed. Because, in our kitchen analogy, the main source of everything is the pantry. It's massive, it has every ingredient you could ever imagine, but it's a long walk away. In the digital world, this is the main server for a website located across the country, or maybe it's your computer's slow-spinning hard drive. It has all the data, for sure, but getting to it takes time. But a smart chef, they're not going to run to that slow pantry every single time they need a pinch of salt or a splash of oil. Of course not. That would be crazy. They keep the essentials right there on that shelf within arm's reach. And that's the cache. It's small, it's close, and it is lightning fast. And this whole setup leads to two very different outcomes. So if the ingredient the chef needs is right there on the shelf, that's what we call a cache hit. It's instant success. But if it's not there, well, that's a cache miss. That means a slow, frustrating trip all the way to the pantry. But here's the genius part. After that slow trip, the chef is smart. They put a little copy of that ingredient on the shelf just in case they need it again soon. Okay, so this whole chef's shelf idea isn't just some clever kitchen hack. It's a fundamental principle that powers almost all the technology you use every single day. So let's leave the kitchen and see where these caches are hiding out in the real world, in plain sight. Seriously, it's everywhere, from the browser on your screen to the websites it's connecting to, from the apps on your phone all the way down to the very core of your computer's processor. Caching is the invisible layer making everything faster. Let's start with your web browser. It's an absolute pro at caching. Think of it like it has its own little pantry shelf. When you visit a website for the first time, it downloads all the images, the logo, the fonts, and it saves them. So the next time you visit, instead of making that slow trip all the way across the internet, it just grabs the files locally. And that's that instant load time you feel. And it's not just on your computer. Websites themselves are huge fans of caching. Imagine a big news story goes viral. The server doesn't recreate the web page from scratch for every single one of the millions of people trying to view it. No way. It builds the page once, puts that finished copy in its cache, and then just hands out that same perfect page to everyone. It's literally the only way to handle that kind of massive traffic. Then you've got things called content delivery networks, or CDNs, which take this whole idea global. They basically build a network of these chef shelves all around the world. So if you're in London, you don't have to wait for data to travel all the way from a server in California. The CDN gives you a cached copy from a local server, maybe just a few miles away. That cuts down the travel time like you wouldn't believe. And the apps on your phone? Oh yeah, they use caching to feel snappy too. When you open up your favorite social media app, it doesn't search through a massive database for your friends' profile pictures every single time you scroll. It keeps the ones you look at most often in a fast little cache, ready for near instant retrieval. And it gets even crazier. Your computer's processor, its brain, is so mind-bogglingly fast that even your computer's main memory, the RAM, is too slow for it. So what does it do? It has its own set of tiny, ultra-fast caches built right onto the chip itself. This is a huge reason why modern computers feel so incredibly powerful and responsive. Okay, so caching is amazing. It's fast, it's efficient, but, it does introduce one big, tricky problem. What happens when the original information back in the pantry changes? How do you make sure your fast copy isn't an old copy? Let's jump back to our chef for a second. Imagine the master recipe in the pantry gets updated. Maybe it now calls for a new spice, but our chef, working super fast, keeps using the old version they have on their shelf. They'd be making the wrong dish entirely. That's the problem of stale data in a nutshell. So, how do you solve this? Well, systems have some pretty clever ways to keep their shelves fresh. Sometimes they'll put an expiration date on an item, like a Best Buy date. We call it a time to live. Other times, the main pantry basically sends out a memo saying, hey, that recipe is old, throw it out. This is called invalidation. And it all comes down to this constant balancing act. Do you want pure speed, or do you absolutely need the latest, up-to-the-second information? The right answer always depends on what you're trying to do. So, when you put it all together, what does it all mean? It means caching is this invisible engine that truly powers our digital world. It's the reason websites load in a flash, apps feel responsive, and the internet basically works at the speed of thought. And really, this quote says it all. It's such a beautifully simple idea. Just put a copy of whatever you need closer to where you're actually working. It's not about replacing the big pantry. It's about building a smarter shelf. And that simple principle is the foundation for the fast, seamless digital experience we all expect. Because honestly, without it, every single click on every single website would feel like that first, painfully slow load. Every app would lag. The internet as we know it, it just wouldn't be possible. It really is the true, unsung hero of digital speed. And caching is just one of these elegant, hidden technologies that make our modern world work. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible engines are out there, quietly shaping our digital lives every single second of the day?